Hi, thanks so much for joining me again here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today we are talking about travel insurance. And while it's something that most people probably don't purchase, it's definitely worth thinking about for your Ireland vacation. But before we jump into that, I want to remind you that this is part of the Planning Your Ireland Vacation series, and the perfect accompaniment for that is the My Ireland Vacation Planner and Journal. This planner and journal has 4 sections to help you plan every aspect of your Ireland vacation: budgeting, itinerary, transportation, packing, and then it ends with a terrific journal for you to record your vacation memories. You can find this planner and journal at irelandfamilyvacations.com/Ireland Planner. And if you use code podcast10, you'll save 10%. Now, let's dive into travel insurance. It's actually a question that I get asked quite often. Do I need travel insurance for an Ireland vacation? And it doesn't have the same answer for everyone because it has to do with risk, as well as figuring out if you have any other coverage that might be kicking in for your trip. So we're going to kind of break it down piece by piece. So the way I like to begin is just by reminding people that the whole purpose of travel insurance or insurance of any type is to provide you with a form of protection against a possible risk. How likely is it that something will happen? Is it high? Is it low? And I guess it's just kind of a gamble that you take, right? If you get insurance or if you don't get insurance, you're kind of gambling on everything being okay if you don't get it. And gambling on maybe I might need some coverage if you do. So, how much risk are you willing to take? And this varies from person to person, family to family. Do you have a threshold of $1,000? Do you have a threshold of $5,000? How much can you afford to lose if something happens and you can't go on vacation? Ouch. That's kind of a harsh way to look at it, but really, that's kind of the way you have to think about it when you're thinking about if you need travel insurance or not. Would you take the loss? Would you reschedule the trip? Would you replace it with something else? So travel insurance might just be a pretty good idea for you. Now, when we're thinking about what travel insurance covers, first you need to know that travel insurance policies will cost between 4 to 10% of your trip cost. And they often include coverages for trip cancellation and delay, trip interruption, medical costs, and lost or delayed baggage. But then you can purchase additional options onto your base travel policy that cover pandemic coverage, medical evacuation, and then what I always look for is cancel for any reason. Now, every time you add one of these options, the cost of your travel insurance does go up. And it's really important to remember that all policies aren't created equal, so you need to read the policy details and compare them before purchasing travel insurance for your Ireland vacation or any other vacation. Before you go and start searching for Ireland travel insurance policies, though, I want you to figure out what you might already have. If you've used a credit card for your travel, you might have coverage that includes lost or delayed baggage, trip cancellation, trip delay, missed connection coverage, accident, medical, hospital, and emergency evacuation when the trip is paid for using that credit card. You might also have travel assistance services on there as well. So if you are using a credit card, and especially a travel credit card, so one that is specifically made for travel benefits, make sure you check your terms and conditions, and see exactly what purchasing your trip with that card covers. Another thing you might want to check is your personal insurance. Now, I know that's not going to cover you for medical or car rental or things like that, but it just might cover your equipment. If you happen to travel with expensive electronics or cameras or anything like that, you might find that adding an inexpensive rider to your insurance policy will take care of that without having to buy specific travel insurance for it. So what else do you need other than the things that we've kind of covered that might be included in what you already have? I personally always look for cancel for any reason coverage. Just because we've got kind of the pandemic in our, our rear view mirror, border closures that happened like that, right? Travel warnings, quarantine restrictions, things like that. I just like to have that cancel for any reason coverage, as it's like extra insurance, just in case I'm not feeling like it's safe for my family to travel, or if I'm worried that something is going to happen last minute and my travel plans all fall apart. I like the security the cancel for any reason coverage gives me. Now, cancel for any reason coverage only reimburses about 75% of your trip costs, but it can help you kind of save yourself. We had an episode where we had to cancel a 5-week journey a few years ago, turned it into a 10-day jaunt, and that took care of the changes that we had to make. Now, I want you to know that cancel for any reason coverage is time sensitive. So if you're considering it for your Ireland vacation, it usually needs to be purchased within 1 to 3 weeks after the first vacation payment has been made. Time limits vary by insurance companies. So this is something that if you're interested in it, you really want to check it out right away, or even before you start making those vacation plans. I always recommend purchasing travel insurance when you buy any type of vacation package. When you're working with a tour operator, especially one that covers absolutely everything, airfare, car rental, accommodations, even tour bookings within the country, you really need to have that extra protection. We've seen in the past few years, travel companies closing, just out of nowhere closing and leaving travelers without any support system whatsoever. And oftentimes the travelers are either in the middle of their trip, or they land in country and find out there are no reservations for them. So a good travel insurance company policy will not only provide the support necessary for you to continue your vacation, but it will also soften any financial blow of additional costs for transportation, accommodations, or other losses. That said, you may not want to purchase the coverage that is offered by the tour operator, airline, or cruise company. Quite often, those policies have a significant price markup on it, and the coverage isn't as good as a third-party insurer. And some might even only offer travel vouchers in place of insurance. So be sure to do your homework, read all the terms and conditions, and compare policies before you purchase any travel insurance. Tour operators also don't offer cancel for any reason coverage, which is a big reason in my mind to go with a third-party insurer. Now, my personal preference is a company called SquareMouth. It's a comparison site that allows you to search for policies by terms and price, and it's super easy to use. You will find a link for SquareMouth in the show notes. And if you are traveling with family, TravelX is another company that I really, really like. Not only do they offer cancel for any reason policies, but they also have a kind of a group policy for families with children under 17. They're included for free in the policy. So you want to definitely check that out if you are traveling with a family group. You'll find a link for TravelX also in the show notes. And finally, when should you buy travel insurance for your Ireland vacation? You can buy general travel insurance policies anytime before you depart for your trip. But as I mentioned earlier, cancel for any reason coverage is time sensitive and must be purchased soon after your travel bookings. Limits vary by company, but it can be as short as a week. Personally, I buy travel insurance right after I secure the main portions of my bookings. So if I'm purchasing a package trip, or right after I get my airfare and my car rental, if those are non-refundable purchases. You never know. What could happen, right? Travel company might close. The car rental company might not have a car for you when you arrive. Airlines might have a delay and another delay. They might lose your baggage. You just never know. When your money and possibly your trip are on the line, travel insurance can really, really save your trip, save your sanity, save your money. The final thing that I want to mention is most travel insurance company or policies cover pre-existing conditions that are under control if you buy the policy soon after making your trip payment. Up to 20% of travel insurance claims are traced to pre-existing conditions. So if this is something that is kind of, in your radar, it's probably an important consideration. Be sure to read your policies carefully and look for the coverage that you know you need. So there you have it. Do you need to buy Ireland travel insurance for your vacation? You're the only one that can answer that question. So, what's your threshold for risk? I don't buy it all the time, but when I do buy it and I end up needing it, I'm always glad I did. For more information on travel insurance, you can visit the U.S. Travel Insurance Association website. And as always, that link is in my show notes. Thanks so much for joining me today.